Alrighty, we shall continue our playthrough of some Klingons. Let me put this up a little bit. Bap. All right. So hello and welcome to Massive Multiplayer Mondays with me, the host, and the only one here currently, Morgan Forbush, and I am playing some Star Trek Online. That I realize is kind of loud. This is fine. This is fine. Alrighty, so let me get my Discord up so I can read the land acknowledgement. So, here we acknowledge that in Milwaukee we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes, where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnic rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. And all that jazz. So, last week we talked about we didn't really talk about anything, to be honest. Really, we just had some fun playing some Klingon stuff, and I think this today will be the last week of Star Trek. I know last week was kind of short. So maybe this week will be short. I don't think so, but we'll figure it out. Maybe when David and Ren, if they join us, that we can talk about constructed languages. Maybe I can talk about constructed languages. Who knows? Who knows? So we have this question of if we want to play Heirloon or we want to play Talok. We're going to continue playing Talok, just because it's fun. And also, it goes into the whole conlang stuff. All right. Let us continue with our ship, the IKS Daruka, a name I randomized, and just play some Klingons. Let's play some good old Klingons. What were we doing? Here's my ship. Know that for sure? Oh look, there's people. Isn't that great? Follow the show. Oh yes, I am following the Federation spy to this system to do system stuff. Ooh. Well, isn't that cool? Drake at Drake Calvian, number pound key 6569, has acquired a T9 Liberated Borg Command Juggernaut. Isn't that cool? Now I want to check something. So that's cool. It's pretty awesome. Ooh. Any active roleplay RP fleets, Federation, recruiting. I am not currently recruiting you into my RP fleet because I'm not in a fleet, Mr. Nguyen Song. Nguyen Song. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, so we can kind of see that this is, kind of a bright and vibrant thing that's happening. Or, maybe I just came in at the right time. Now I kind of want to look at the store. There are many things in the store, and I talked about this in Final Fantasy, how different moderation schemes work. And this is a moderation scheme that we could talk about. So Star Trek Online is a free-to-play MMO. So what that means is you can play it for free, but there's a cash shop. And that cash shop is what kind of funds the game. That's the way the developers sell it to us. It's always a question of how much does it actually fund the game and all that kind of stuff. How big is the player base, and does that player base sustain the game and all that kind of stuff. That might be the reason why there's only 5 servers 5 or 6 servers of Star Trek Online, but who knows? Maybe. Maybe. We will do the thing. Okay. Let me get up Discord again, just to have it there, and be able to see good old Discord. Sorry for the awkward silence. I will fill it with my lovely voice. And we're back. All right. So, let us see what they got. Because this just said he acquired a Liberty Borg Command Juggernaut. Tier 6? Tier 6. Wow. Oh, that's pretty. Nice. Nice. Cardassian. Oh. Oh. Look at all these cool things. Okay. Alright. Alright. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. So we got some ships here. We got a core bird of prey. Ooh. What? Oh, interesting. You can get a different bird of prey. I don't see a liberated Borg vessel. Unless I just don't see it. Let's see if I can filter it. Okay. So I think that guy got it legitimately, somehow. Oh, sweet. But yeah, so this is kind of the basis of a free-to-play game. You know, we can... Is this really... Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? So you can buy roster slots, and you can get ships, and you can buy ship bundles. You can buy expansion packs. I don't know what that means. You may claim the following items. Once you have done so, it's cool. Okay, cool. So, there's also on sale things, and I don't know what Mud's Market is. You know, I'm just looking around, looking at things. There's some cool ships. As I almost swear. I'm trying not to swear. It might be a good thing to practice. Oh, hey! Naja at MB has acquired a Command Strike Warbird. Isn't that cool? Now, I'm trying to figure out... What I'm trying to figure out is if they bought those ships, and they're, like, advertising. Okay. Maybe they did just get it. I don't know. I'm gonna presume they did. Not purchased. Purchased. Not purchased. Apparently I get this Type 7 shuttle. I don't know why. Oh. Oh. Wait, so I have things? Oh man, sweet. Oh my god, I can get a kilt uniform? Claim that. I don't... I'm just gonna claim all of these. I have no idea. I'm not buying Zen or anything. I have the purchase tab, and it looks like I have, you know, some extra little things that they give you for free, which is kind of cool. That's nice of them. But anyway, so this is the cash shop. I'm just seeing what's going on. I totally did not see if you talked or not. I just was like, I just wanted to see what the cash shop, since Star Trek Online is fully a free-to-play game. I was just like, ooh, what can I buy in this cash shop? I think there's 2 cash shops. Oh, there's 2 cash shops. I don't... there's things. Sweet. Okay, so... Oh. Alright, so how much is Zen? How much is Zen? I have no idea. how to buy Zen, but that's the thing. And Toad's buying buying with your eyes. But dude, Iggy, look at these cool ships. Like, there's some cool ships, man. That's not a cool ship. Let me find you a cooler ship. Look, a warboard. Or like, that's dinky ship. But like, just look at it. There's all sorts of cool ships, and like that's pretty dope looking. Oh, it's Romulan. Okay, okay, I can kind of see that being Romulan. Yeah, Romulan. Okay. Ah, I have figured out how to buy the Zen. Um, why do they use Zen? I mean, it's kind of strangely ironic in a game in Star Trek to have paid services. You're now one step closer. But like, so Star Trek, I remember when they were talking in the fourth Star Trek where they go and get the whales, and Kirk's talking to, the love interest, and she's like, "Do you guys have any money?" And he goes, "No." And she goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, we don't have capitalism." Or it's implied that they don't have money in the 26th century or whatever century they're in. And like, it's kind of ironic that they're like, actually, here's capitalism in your Star Trek game. Although I do think in DS9 and TNGs, because Ferengis are there, they have like platinum palladium or something like that. $100 for 10,000 Zen. Okay, so $30 for 3,000 Zen. Well, that's a good thing, because most of these ships are 3,000. Cancel. I'm hitting cancel, Iggy. What'll 10k Zen get you? Well, 3 ships. Most of these look like they're 3,000. So you can buy 3 of these random ships that are cool looking. Some of them are cool looking. That one's cool looking. A bird of prey. So those are 3,000. There are ship bundles. So you get 4 of these T6 Cross Falcon support carrier starships for $100. I think I believe, I'm going to say I believe because this makes sense, and this game generally follows sense, is that different ships have different, like, missiles and things. So passive bonus to directive energy damage, console mod. Sure, console mod can be equipped on any multi-mission explorer or explorer warbird. So you can unlock a charge particle reaction. So I think each... Oh wait, what's on sale? The legendary Klingon Defense Force Captain Bundle. That is a nice forehead you have there, milady. So I get one level. I don't know what level 65 is. What are the different levels? So I get more inventory slots, more bank slots. I get more bridge officers and more starship slots. So that means I can have 2 starships. Does she look like Zoe Zendella? She does. She does. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it, Iggy. Oh, it ends in 2 days. I gotta act fast. Fast. To buy this. It's that's $60. $60. Unless okay, let's get the bundle pricing here going. That's a no, yeah, so that's $60. I'm actually kind of happy that it seems like every 1,000 Zen is $10. I will grant them that prestige because a lot of free to plays, and the Xbox Live Arcade did this so much with Xbox points. is you could never tell the exchange rate. You'd buy like $20 worth of Xbox Live money, and it would be like 15,000. So you couldn't quite correlate how much in-game currency you were getting for the money you're getting. Here, it's every $10 is 1,000 zen. 10,000 is 100 zen. 20,000 is 200. So it's a linear thing. Goes up. And a bonus of 200 points. Yeah. It was really scummy that way. It's like, how much am I actually buying? Fortnite does that as well, where you never know. Yeah. Yes. 100%. Yes. I remember buying the map packs for Halo 3 and they were like 1,500 points, and the $20 bundle would get you 2,000 points. So you'd have 500 extra points to spend on something, and that wasn't enough for an expansion point. So I just ended up buying Rock Band songs. That's what I did with that extra. I was like, I'll buy this. What did I end up buying? I don't even remember with the Rock Band 2 songs I bought extra. Oh, I bought some Breaking Benjamin songs. I remember that. So like Halo 3 map packs plus some Rock Band songs. That's what my $20 got me. Honestly, I spent way too much money on Halo 3, man, in those map packs. Way too much money. And Halo Reach, too. The map packs, man. They're brutal. They're expensive. Well, how much is like 50? High school kids just want to play with their friends, man. I'm not going to buy Zen. Also, you have event buyouts. Apparently there's an event going on that I can buy this out. I mean, it looks pretty dope. I don't like that it's like asymmetrical, but whatever. Still leaves you with extra. Alright, Iggy, what am I doing? Oh! And then you sell... Oh, right, there's the dilithium. Do I have dilithium? I don't have any dilithium. So dilithium crystals is actually, like, pertinent to the story. But, like, these are just other things? Oh, is this maybe... Oh, is this PvP stuff? Oh, maybe this is PvP. Is there PvP? I don't know. This is just other buyable things. So I have a friend. I thought I had a friend. Where's the friend? Oh, he's down there. Hello, Bevara der Grenzen. I wonder if you're from Germany. Alright. Forward, march. Is E forward? E is forward. Continue space chase. Alright. Alright, Iggy, after that brief interlude of talking about free-to-play mechanics, back into story.
Captain, the warp trail ends here.
You gotta tell me how much you love these eyebrows. Those are some great eyebrows. Scan every inch of the system until we find him. Put out a wideband hail in all channels. I want to let him know who he's dealing with. Now they give me a choice. Before it was just like, be a Klingon. What if I don't want to be a Klingon? Be a Klingon. Beautiful. Those are some nice thick eyebrows, man. Let's just...
hailing frequencies. If he's out there, he'll hear it. Captain, I recommend modifying the navigational beacons in this system to amplify our efforts in locating the prisoner.
You got it. So, so where we are in this story, Iggy, because you have no idea where we are. Because I don't think you were here last week. Can I go faster? So we went to the Klingon. I'm a Klingon now. Fun facts. Can I just move? Sweet. That's nice.
Beacon modified. Nothing yet. We should modify another beacon.
You got it. The fact that I can do this while just flying through space, beautiful. What's that? are these?
Got him. Establishing a communication link now.
I am impressed.
Oh.
I thought Doran was the right choice for command, but apparently even I can be wrong. The KDF will do well with you in their ranks. You have the tenacity of a rabid targ.
So, I didn't fill you in on what the fuck's going on in the story. So, I was Klingon, and then, well, I am Klingon. Still Klingon. 100% Klingon right now. So I'm a Klingon. On a Klingon ship. Klingon ship gets attacked by the Federation. Find out that the Federation is trying to get back this guy, this Federation prisoner, and that my current captain was being all sneaky and trying to get this federal prisoner to the feds. Right? Right. Don't like that as a Klingon. So the first officer, you are not the first officer at this point. The first officer tries to kill him. Captain kills first officer. Hashtag Klingons. Well, me being the second officer, now first officer, is like, you are dishonoring the Klingons, I shall fight you. And so you fight the captain, you kill the captain, now you're the captain. Because that's how Klingons work. And then you got this prisoner, take him back to the Klingon homeworld. He gets out of the Klingon homeworld because he's just a plot device. And now we're trying to locate him and bring him back to the Klingons. He's got a big scar on his face and is not well animated, but you know, that is what it is. Cut the flattery and quit your engine, or out your engines. You are going back to Quanas with me.
As much as I might deserve to rot in a Klingon jail cell and be interrogated to within an inch of my life on a daily basis, I have unfinished business. It's time I was going.
Also, this guy has a very nasally voice. I'll follow you to Earth itself if that's what it takes. Yes, this is a great great plan.
I always have an escape plan. I've planted a tiny subroutine in all Starfleet computers. If any vessel arrives in the Boreth system, their sensors will pick up distress beacons from dozens of destroyed Starfleet starships. In addition, when we started this conversation, I sent out a few false maydays from these phantom vessels. Ships are already responding.
Well, this federal prisoner is now going to get me into Federation combat, so
You've
hashtag
yourself to be
Klingon.
a skilled warrior already, so I'm sure you know that Kalis said it was acceptable to lose a battle to save an empire or a ship. I suggest you leave before Starfleet arrives.
Captain, we're being hailed by one of the Starfleet vessels.
Cool. Now Mr. Kegan, or as I like to call him, Eyebrows, is talking to me. Okay, so what's going on?
Bird of prey, power down your weapons and shields, and prepare to be boarded.
That's a half Vulcan if I've ever seen one.
Our sensors are detecting
Sensors.
distress beacons in this area. This trap is obviously your handiwork. Surrender now,
Hi,
or
Red.
you will be forced.
Hey, how's it going?
I just heard ka-dunk. Not much. I'm just talking to a Vulcan who wants to kill me because I'm a Klingon. All right. So if you want distress beacons, I suggest you activate your own. Or check your sensors again. Do I just want to fight them? I think I just want to fight them. Hashtag Klingon life.
How's the stream going? How's the amazingly polished, really brilliant, and really there nothing could be added to this game, and nothing can be taken away.
As you're doing that, I click on some particles, and a random minigame pops up, and I'm like, what? Okay, so story so far. Let me get you a brief recap. I already gave this to Iggy. So I am now a Klingon because I decided to be a Klingon. Last time I got invited to a fleet. It was called the 15 Shades of Warp Drive or something, or the 50 Warp Drives. And I was like, I don't know what a fleet is. I thought it was like a thing for PvP or something, so I declined it. But then I realized that it was like a guild, and then I felt bad for not joining. I was like, oh. I saw a lot of people by the Klingon homeworld, so that was great. I was like, oh look, there's people here. But anyway, So I'm a Klingon, and to give you a taste of what, do you know anything about Klingons?
I know that they are tastelessly violent.
They're not.
That's how I would
They're
describe
not
it.
tastelessly violent. They're just violent, I guess. So
How do you define tasteful violence? I'm not sure.
if they're violent within their cultural norms, they're not, they're not trying to make us violent. So what? So this is the
My
tutorial,
bad.
the tutorial mission for this game, for the Klingons, is your ship has gotten a prisoner, a Federation prisoner, who's got a nasty scar on his face and is really nasally and an asshole. He gets on board, a Federation vessel appears, and then while you're going about and doing things, you realize that your captain is the one that brought the Federation here to get the prisoner. And you're like, hey, no bueno, you're a traitor, hashtag not a Klingon. So the first officer, which isn't you, goes up and challenges the captain. And then the captain kills her. Because, yeah. But you are like, hey, you're dishonorable, I'm going to challenge you, and you beat him because you're the main character. So you are now the captain of this starship. Not a starship, a bird of prey, because you killed the captain, and that's how it works in Klingons. Is if you challenge the superior officer to a battle and you beat them, you get their officership. Just like in Band, when you challenge the chair ahead of you and you win, you get his chair. You know, that's how orchestra works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow.
And so then you're like, hey, I got this Federation prisoner. Take Federation prisoner to Klingon homeworld. Worf's there. Also, I didn't tell Iggy this, but Worf's there. Worf is from TNG, and it was actually voiced by the original Worf actor, so nice.
Okay.
Dope. And then the Federal prisoner escapes, and you give chase. And that's pretty much where I am right now. I'm giving chase.
What a bizarre fucking thing this game is. Oh my god.
Also, I didn't mention this. So the first officer who got killed was wedded to random engineer man on the Klingon homeworld, and as the captain, you need to go tell for the first officer's husband that she died. And when you tell the officer, hey, your wife's dead, this is how she died, he goes, well, I'm sad that she didn't die in as honorable way to get into their version of Valhalla. I'm going to go with you to be honorable and to get us both into this Valhalla. And I was like, touching, I think. That you want to go and risk your life to get your dead wife into your version of Valhalla, so, you know, nice.
What a strange thing.
And now I'm fighting Federation people. Oh no. Okay. Also, Bird of Preys have different radiuses. So I can't just like shoot them aimlessly. I kind of actually have to have planning for my shields and things.
Yeah.
Also, I looked at the cash shop. So we can talk about the cash shop.
I'm just like, I don't even know, man. I love it, like for all intents and purposes, you're flying on like a flat PNG of this planet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I know there's 3D space going on here, but because they like modeled it or drawn it or the skybox works.
Oh, I just got blown up by the ship. Okay, that's fine.
Oof. It really looks like it's just the flattest background PNG of all time ever.
Alright, give me a sec. Gotta loop around to get to my front shields.
God damn.
So yeah. Oh no, our facing shield are down.
Space combat.
Space combat!
Is there a game that plays like this, like a tabletop game? Like crazy? Isn't there like a Star Wars game?
There is a Star Wars mini game. The one that is it? Oh god, what is it called? My dad played it all the time. Starfleet? No, not Starfleet. Star something. Can I shoot you, please? Can I do that? Oh, I have to like zoom around to get at him. So yeah. So as I'm killing this frigate. Also, watch this evasive maneuvers. I just speed away. Beautiful. Oh, good. Oh, and it's a Presidio class.
Klingon ship. We are here on a rescue operation.
Well, can I just not engage with you? Can I just go and find the dude? No, I have to kill you? Okay. Klingons be Klingoning, I suppose. Ooh. Now I know that's expensive. So, the thing that I find interesting, talking about so this is a free-to-play game. I'm cloaked, by the way. Ooh. So this is a free-to-play game, so they, of course, the way that they make money is by having a cash shop. But I think that there's alerts saying that people are buying stuff, like ships and things.
So people are active and paying money on this beautiful MMO that has no problems.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm in a tractor beam. I've made a mistake.
Oh, hey.
Sir, I have made a mistake. Nothing to see here. I just wanted to get in position to look at them. Go down.
Imagine if people drove cars like that.
Oh,
I
man.
just want to get in position to look at your car. Sorry for, like, riding your ass.
I just bonk into them. Like, sorry, our collision physics don't work very well.
Oh, have you run into any other players and gotten any fights with them?
No. I don't know if I can. I actually ran into someone who's part of the Federation. And I was like, can he kill me? Can I kill him? Didn't look like I could. But I think there's actually like PvP or something.
Huh. Interesting.
Am I supposed to kill him? Am I supposed to just be dying? I'm not entirely sure.
Kind of fascinating in its own way. I like every time we play this game, I think a lot about Elite Dangerous because it's a game I almost always pick up on sale.
Oh yeah.
And never do. Yeah. And I wonder how that game's doing because that game is just a first-person, souped up version of the space combat. Let's just I know it's not like anything new. It's just, because obviously like there's the Star Wars TIE Fighter games were on fucking what, Xbox. But it'd be interested in like, I don't think I would call Elite Dangerous an MMO. Apparently, it calls itself an MMO.
Well, I mean, Destiny calls itself an MMO, so.
Yeah, so it at least is relying on MMO elements.
Yeah.
Which just makes me wonder, like, if we start trying to trace the lineages of these, because like, what is like MMOs? I feel like more often than not end up mediating tabletop games.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see
more
that.
than they do like what we would traditionally call, video game genres. Maybe that's one of the things about Destiny that makes it weird, is it doesn't feel like a tabletop game,
Yeah, it's definitely it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
That is in the guise of it's kind of like this a class-based shooter. Honestly, if it was just, hey, we're gonna be Borderlands, but kind of Halo, I would have been 100% fine with it. Because that's kind of what Outlanders is? That's kind of what Outlanders is.
Well, yeah, except Outlanders doesn't work right now.
But the thing is, I will give Outlanders one thing. It works except for multiplayer. If you just play it as a solo experience, perfectly functional.
Well, great, but like
So,
when
like,
you're billing your game as a co-op game, that's kind of a big oversight.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I'm just saying that it's like it's not buggy. The game itself works. It's just that their servers are shit. So it's like like it didn't pull a Cyberpunk 64 or Cyberpunk 64, a Cyberpunk
64,
and it's just not a game. Am I supposed to be winning?
It pulled an early Smash Bros. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's just kind of
Nintendo
like,
netcode.
yeah, it was just like, I'm dying.
I would love to pick up Outriders, although at this stage, unless they fix that online, it's not going to be long for this world. So maybe I'll pick it up on sale in a month when it goes for $30 because.
Oh no, I don't think it. I think once they actually get the situation fixed, I think it'll come back.
You just never know with Square Enix, you know? I mean, I don't mean to say Square Enix is in the people who are making the Final Fantasy games. There's a lot of dedication there.
But with the publishing arm of Square Enix?
With Square, yeah.
Yeah. With Square is... But also Square's really persistent. If it's not Final Fantasy, they're like okay with things crashing and burning.
Yeah.
If it's not Final Fantasy.
I mean, it's kind of funny in all... In the kind of historicism of Final Fantasy.
I think I'm just gonna die here? What happens if I die?
I mean, can you just flee combat? Because, like, it doesn't look like you're getting anywhere.
I don't know. Let's just evasive maneuver away. Away.
Because this thing is yeah,
it's a Presidio class. They're boss.
You're doing a pretty good job of fighting it for what you've got.
I'm just gonna run away, my little bird of prey. Can't kill this thing.
So what's the huge space station below you? Is that just
these are beacons.
Oh.
I don't know what the beacons do, but they're beacons.
Well, that's convenient. Not that I know what they do, but it's convenient.
I guess it is. I don't know what's down here. The Presidio class over there.
God, these games are so like I'm actually kind of curious, and this is kind of a show running question more than it is an MMO question. What do you consider MMO enough to play on massively multiplayer Mondays?
It's a good question. I'm trying to get to this. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get to this little thing. Haha! Can I just explode him?
Like, will you play MMOs that are like games that utilize MMO elements? Like, what's the bar here?
For me, I think of MMO in like the classic sense of World of Warcraft. In the style of, their combat is the hotbar. You run around picking up quests and doing a story, and you have your own avatar sort of thing. That's kind of how I classify MMOs, and that comes from a place of playing like Lord of the Rings, and then going from Lord of the Rings Online, which is pretty much, it's not quite a WoW reskin. It's close to it though. It's like, we want to do WoW except with Lord of the Rings, and they did a really good job with it. In the beginning stages, they did a really good job of emulating the Lord of the Rings world and all that kind of stuff. And so basically it was WoW except Lord of the Rings. Okay, do I get the shields up? I don't...
But the things that are in the tradition of...
Yeah, in the tradition of WoW, so like I presume like Star Trek Online, whatever the Star Wars one is, SWTOR or something like that?
SWTOR, yes.
SWTOR!
Star Wars The Old Republic.
When I do that, I might actually ask my friend who's big into that to be like, hey, can you just be like my sensei? Like, I'll put you in the show and you could be on live with me just telling me what to do in this game.
You got, like, I'm just telling you, man, the writing in that game is very questionable.
When I was picking...
You gotta go for it.
When I was picking out Star Trek versus Star Wars, I just decided to do Star Trek because this was sitting in my Steam library for some reason.
What is going on right now? Are you, like, as close as you can get to the world, and so the game's like, I don't know what's going on?
Oh, I think it's because this world looks like it's like Mercury, so maybe it's just erupting. I don't know. I don't know. I just decided to go find this federal prison and I can't do anything with it, so I guess I'll just attempt to kill this Presidio class.
Maybe you have to kill it before you can go to the prison. Is
it
regenerating
probably.
Health? Or is it...
Yeah, it regenerated its health.
Oh boy, this is gonna be rough.
You know what? What if I just die? Just give myself to my Federation overlords. Because what I found when I was like doing the beginning mission was the captain was like, we can't kill the Federation. You will know in time, young one. So
What?
I might just die.
Okay.
Because
Well, alright.
currently in the story of this game, and honestly, it's a story that is trotted out in other aspects of media lore. The Klingons are constantly at war with everyone because they don't like alliances, because Klingons. And so they're just at war with the Federation right now. And the Federation is just more powerful than them. So we're just gonna see if I can kill these guys. Well, that's at 80%. We're just gonna, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
doing
see
good.
what I hear. I understand.
Yeah. So maybe this is like one of those no-win scenarios, but also I'm doing damage, so maybe I'm just stupid.
I mean, you might just have to like assume the formation and slowly rotate around the ship because
oh, they're
apparently
tractor
that's how
beaming me.
combat works.
Well, that's a thing. I'm being tractor beamed.
Oof, you gotta attack from a different angle.
I'm being tractor beamed. Okay.
Oh, you can't do shit.
Eh! Basic maneuvers.
Well, now you know what you need. Your own tractor beam.
I need my own tractor beam.
That seems really dumb.
I need to get a Presidio class. Only.
As is true of all games, lots of CC is very effective. It's very interesting, I think, in hero shooter, like the different relationships different genres have with CC. I think like in an MMO, I feel like it's more forgivable for your enemies to have like a shitload of CC because like what else are they gonna do? You know, damage numbers. That's just about it. In like Overwatch and in hero shooters, heroes having a shitload of CC and therefore your enemies having a lot of CC.
Oh, I got
really can disrupt the goddamn game experience. You know?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it can just make the game absolutely unplayable for everybody else who's in the server. And I have friends who complain a lot about Smite specifically having done that as a MOBA,
Yeah. Oh, I'm killing it.
Oh, yeah, you're getting it there.
I'm getting it. Oh my god, I'm killing a Presidio class. Die, Federation. I just needed to shoot them more, I guess. I have no idea. I have no idea what I did differently except shoot him. Oh, but yeah, I don't know. For me, MMOs, like I think Final Fantasy's kind of like there's not a lot of new MMOs. There are new MMOs, but there's always. Could you just die? Could you just do the dying? Oh, look at that flame! It's not even like hanging out.
Oh my god. Wow, this thing will not fucking die.
Presidio! It won't let me move.
Is it running away now? What is it doing?
Evasive maneuvers.
Maybe you don't kill it. Maybe you can't kill it. You just have to get it to run away or something.
I don't know. It says to destroy it, so I'm defeating it.
Huh.
Also,
what
I'm right up. This is, haha.
Oh, I'm a few seconds behind. That's why I can't. There it is. Yeah.
How many Starfleet? That's a good question. How many Starfleet ships do they have in Klingon territory? A lot, because the Federation is gigantic. So, before we engage these dudes, I'll just show you the cash shop, and you can be like, wow, that sucks.
Oh boy.
So the cash shop. So I don't have any Zen. Zen is their in-game currency, which you'll find this kind of funny. So in the original TOS, in one of the movies, there's a specific line. They might actually be coming to attack me. So that you can buy Zen. I'll talk about this while I'm shooting things.
Sure.
So in the one where they go back in time and save the whales, there is a moment where Kirk is talking to the love interest, and the love interest kind of goes like, well, don't you have any money? And they go, no. And they go like, what do you mean? And he goes, there's no currency in my time. So it kind of is, the like, oh, we're going to abolish capitalism sort of thing.
Post-currency society.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're talking about. Which is kind of neat. Kind of cool. I can dig it. But then they have in the game this hyper-capitalist sort of thing where they're like, give us money I just thought it was a little bit funny. But hey, come back here. Let me torpedo you.
It
sir.
is very funny to imagine, like, of all things, Star Trek having a post-capitalist society.
I know it makes total sense from when it was, when it was born as a medium. Like, yeah.
I just mean, like, when you put it in the space of all the space colonialism, it's like, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, because
like, I feel like there's a couple steps that we need to get through.
And I will say for like TOS, maybe it's slightly in different context. I've already located the federal prisoner. Do I just have to go find him?
I guess so. Maybe he's just hanging out in space.
He's just hanging out in space, waiting for me to do something, I guess. Because I know where he is. I found him, but I lost him. He's over here. Also, the fact that I have to find this tiny little spaceship against this giant JPEG, very hard. Very.
This is my game.
This is my game. I will say in it's kind of interesting because the Federation is kind of a like in TOS they kind of do this. We don't have capitalism anymore, sort of thing. But they also have the Ferengis. And the Ferengis are, they are not like a typified, a bad Jewish stereotype, but they are very capitalistic, in the way that they're like, they get in trouble a lot for like smuggling and things. Like they just want coin. They want that sweet, sweet cash money.
Yeah, I think Warframe has a similar class of people.
Also, look at this guy's eyebrows when it comes up on your screen.
Oh boy. All right. Yeah.
Those are some eyebrows, right?
Yeah. Choice was made.
Also, those are Klingon. It's just they're just not textured, which is the problem.
Yeah.
Leave the command.
It's not a bad start to a model.
But they didn't get the Federation?
I guess.
I guess we're leaving. Yeah. Why are we? I don't know why we're leaving, but we're leaving. Who cares about the federal prison? Did I already grab him? Do I have the federal prison?
We might have accidentally picked him up, and then you just had to finish the combat, and you're good to go. Huh? Weird. Well,
I just don't have him anymore, I guess.
You did uncover a Federation spy nest in the heart of First City.
Oh, I guess you didn't get him. Was there like a time limit?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's excellent game design. Really.
I'm also not paying attention. Oh, my tenacity. Thank you, Lizard Man. That's a Gorn, by the way.
I see.
If you remember the
creature from the Black Lagoon. That was a joke.
What just happened?
I don't know.
Cool, I have an officer. Thanks. Manhunt.
We have identified the Federation prisoner you've been chasing.
Franklin Drake.
Is Franklin Drake.
Franklin Drake.
Some of our sources
That's this prisoner's name.
Intelligence agent. But there are
that's a name. Franklin Drake.
He's not part of the
really, he's the long-lost cousin of Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
The Uncharted series.
There are samples from him.
Very important to know. What a strange fucking game. I can't get over how just absolutely weird this MMO is. Like, I know it's the thing is it's not like exceptionally weird. It just feels really archaic.
What's definitely. So what's these guys talking about? WTB help with the vault. Must have shuttle and no mission paying 5 million credits. KDF. I don't know what that means. I know that you like Geordie LaForge because his name's Bael Forge. Interesting. We got people talking. That's great. We got people in here. But here, I'm totally off track because I'm trying to figure out I have to go find this Franklin Drake man. Franklin Drake.
Apparently.
That's my favorite name now. If I need a great NPC name, it's gonna be Franklin Drake. My dad had this NPC character who followed our group around, who was named Derek Manning. And Derek Manning, I would always be like Derek Manning, attorney at law, because it's such a lawyer name, Derek
It
Manning.
is.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
But kind of what I was thinking to talk about is conlangs, or constructed languages.
Sure.
Do you know anything about them? Do you have any?
No, I mean,
No?
not really.
Okay,
I've certainly not read any theory about them, so.
I also really haven't. It was more of just like a pop culture understanding of it and how I interact with conlangs. So maybe we can just go from there.
Yeah.
Where
sure.
am I pointing? I'm just pointing up. I know to go to a colony. I don't know where I'm going to go. But so constructed languages are like fictional languages made for story purposes. Or otherwise, like Klingon, Elvish, and the Dragon language.
Draconian, yes.
Draconian from Game of Thrones are constructed languages, and there's other ones, but those are the three main ones that I know of. Vulcan is kind of, I don't know how built out Vulcan and Romulan is, but they're like close.
Mhm.
And so is like Dwarvish.
Yeah.
But like everyone knows, people learn Elvish, and people do opera in Klingon. Like there are Klingon troops who do like Klingon death metal or Klingon Hamlet. There's renditions of Hamlet translated into Klingon that people perform sometimes. It's a thing.
Well, all right.
Well, it's like people like can do. That's kind of what constructed languages allow you to do. It allows you to do things in a language that's fictional.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean,
So it's like
don't knock it, right? I'm just saying, like that's a lot of effort and time, and an element of fantasy worlds that, like, from a storytelling perspective, I just have absolutely no interest in ever engaging with as a creator. You know?
Yeah, it kind of adds to like the ability to embody the story, I think. Because like if I knew Klingon, like during this whole time, they're kind of speckling in. They go like, oh, you have to go meet her husband, her kapa, or something like that, like whatever the Klingon version is.
Right.
Like they give you the Klingon word for certain important things. It's very clunky in this game because you're Klingons talking to Klingons. Why would they say in English his wife and then say it in Klingon? Like that doesn't make any sense. But
Right.
but from a player perspective, it gives that like, ooh, I know the Klingon word for wife. Really the only thing I know in Klingon is kapla, which is good, or like okay, or yes sir. That's what kapla is. It's great. But like Klingon is weird. So is like all constructed languages. There's a lot of effort that goes into them to build out a grammatical system.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why.
Well, fundamentally, you like what's kind of fascinating from the get-go is there just seems like constructed languages altogether come from a different sense of a need for communication. You know?
Yeah.
Like certainly it's still communication, but like nobody develops a language, nobody has developed a language that has become, used in any common vernacular out of fandom, except unless it's a constructed language or some fantasy storyteller telling their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And
flashbacks to Esperanto.
Yeah. I wonder honestly how much like some of the functions of language even exist in those systems, right? Can you be, without extreme effort, can you be poetic in Klingon?
Yeah, it has a poetic tense, I believe, actually. Because one of the things with Klingon...
Wait, a poetic tense? Excuse me?
Like, I think they have, like, a tense for it. I know, German has literature tenses. There's languages that have literature tenses.
Okay, I took Latin for 6 years. There are not literature tenses in Latin, so...
Yeah, in German, they're, like... German has a tense for literature, not specifically for literature, but the way that German literature behaves is kind of its weird own tense in itself. Like it's it's present, but you have the understanding that's in the past. It's a very strange sort of thing. That's why All Quiet on the Western Front is told pretty much in a present tense the whole time, because it's told from it was German translated into English, and that's how. Sense. Yeah, it's weird. But like
that
Klingon,
that is an incredibly lost thing. Wow. I mean, like every language uses something in its translation, but that's a pretty major thing to lose.
It's really, that's why like when my English teacher was pitching All Quiet on the Western Front, before we had read it, he was like, read it, it's really good. He was like, it's very poetic. And I was like, what does that mean for a novel to be poetic? And then you read All Quiet on the Western Front, and you're like, oh yeah, it's super poetic. And then I was like, oh wait, it's from German, and German I know has this way of reading literature that's different. But in the story of Star Trek, Klingon opera and works written into Klingon is actually a important thing. Like it's mentioned all the time for like, I don't know if it's for like comedic purposes, but like in TNG, there's a half Klingon person, Worf, and Worf goes, well, you've never know the beauty of Hamlet until you hear it in Klingon. And it's like, that doesn't make sense, but okay. Like it's a very, it's mentioned repeatedly, like that Klingons adapt things into their languages, and it makes sense for the constructed languages for people emulating Klingon to then perform opera and things in Klingon, because that's what they would do in universe. So it kind of makes sense why that exists. Not that I would ever do that and go through the effort of actually doing that, but you know, it's one of those things where it's niche. There's Klingon metal bands for, you know, because they want to do that. But yeah.
Right, and I mean this like in kind of a more like I realize I want to delineate between the kind of performance theory concept of poetic and the, you know, kind of literature concept of poetic here, right?
Yeah.
What I mean to say is not, you know, are they being poetic? Because of course, like if there's a language, then it's going to be metonymic. It's going to be
Hashtag
things.
Hashtag Austin. I think Austin talks about that.
Austin, mainly Austin, yeah.
Austin. I love Austin and Austin. I just love that.
It's like I was like, oh god, do I want to list off everybody we've read this semester that talks about metaphor and metonym? Because I'll be listing the entire syllabus.
Oh yeah, he loves metaphor in his social theory.
Yeah, he's gonna convince me to go over to anthropology just because I'm a sucker for poetics, and so this makes intuitive sense to me in a way that I didn't expect it to, in a way Foucault doesn't.
Foucault makes sense to me actually. Like reading Foucault doesn't make sense, but reading people understanding Foucault makes sense.
Yes.
But anyway, so poetics.
But you know what I mean is manipulations of language in order to create meaning, right? Like I mean. Like what you'll find, I think, in a lot of in Latin you find this, in English you find this. Languages around kind of their grammar, their structure, develop certain ways of constructing
puns,
metaphors, or puns. Right. English is very focused on its sense of visuals in its poetry, and it's something that is true somewhat in Latin, but Latin focuses far more on line order and where a word is placed in a line and how that creates meaning.
I just actually we're talking about this, and it I was watching a Tom Scott video, love Tom Scott, and he was talking about how Shakespeare doesn't really work in French because the iambic whatever that is, the way that Shakespeare writes in limerick form,
blank verse.
Yeah, the blank verse doesn't work in French because they don't stress syllables. It's like you stress the end of the line rather than stressing certain syllables. So it's really hard for people to understand why, like, translating Shakespeare into French, because they don't have the stress on the certain things.
You would need. I mean, I don't even know if syllabic meter would work. I suppose it would because it's just counting.
It kind of.
But it doesn't, like, you can't like just turn blank verse into syllabic meter and go, bam, we did it.
we did it, Joe.
God damn it! But I mean, yes, of course you can construct a language that can do these things. But like,
Yeah.
does Klingon have an interior logic like that? Like, do the operas have a resounding like
I
use that way?
I don't know. And I feel like one of the issues, like, no one speaks Klingon naturally. No one's first language is Klingon.
Right,
I
yeah.
hope not. Knowing how crazy Trekkies can get, there might be a child who speaks Klingon as a first language. Who knows? Swear to God, I hope not. But who knows? But yeah, so no one, natively speaks Klingon, so you don't know how you can play with it.
Right. Unless you were to study fan works in it for years and years and years.
You don't
and
get
then maybe by the end of it you get a sense of how they're using it, if they even have a conception of how they're using it.
And also, like,
unlikely.
You don't really get slang in con. I can't imagine you get slang in conlangs, because they learn the language from the shows, from the dictionaries and things. You don't really get a sense of slang terms in Klingon. Like, there might be built-in slang. Like, I know there's phrases in, like, common phrases in Klingon you can look up, and, like, this is how you say he kicked the targ, and that means that he's dead, sort of thing, or something like that. But that's made by writers that people find, like the wiki pages. So it's constructed language as well as slang. Oh, David came and David left.
David came, said, and then he left.
Oh,
He's
David's back.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't quite get the. I don't think you can quite get the natural. It's like someone trying to make jokes in Latin. No one speaks Latin anymore, so it's really hard to make puns.
Yeah, you have to have a pretty good understanding of the language.
Yeah, you don't speak. No one speaks Latin. Like, people
and
know
which Latin are we talking about, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing about Latin is that over the years, because of the church's reliance on it for the most part, Latin, there's like 4 or 5 different kind of like vernaculars, dialectics of Latin that have different names.
Yeah.
You might have heard Vulgar Latin thrown around. And so it's just, they're not slang per se. As I'm not a linguistics person,
Yeah.
I really can't stand like the formulaic linguistics. It's
Do you
like
mean prescriptive linguistics?
Yeah,
or?
my brain just stops understanding what's going on when I encounter this sort of stuff. But suffice to say, what I mean is that you have all these different versions, right? And so like not only would you have to like have 2 people in the room who had a rigorous enough understanding of the language and the culture to make a joke, but you'd also have to have a group of people who are speaking in the same vernacular.
They're in on the joke, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, here's what I was talking about with how this game integrates Klingon into it. He goes like, "My apologies, kikakisness." Sorry, I don't do Klingon very well, but like you can kind of see, like how they're like, it's also what they do in the voiceover. They go, "My apologies," and then they say it, so it doesn't make sense storytelling wise, but it's nice that it's there. But
and I should say one of the reasons Latin is like Vulgar Latin can trip people up, like who have known the language, not like scholars, obviously that sort of stuff isn't gonna trip those people up. But people who like have an understanding of the language, but not necessarily like a robust understanding of the language, is because it's a dead language, so everybody studies it only by reading it.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to kind of make sense of the grammar in your head to speak anyway. So if somebody throws something at you that you're like not expecting grammatically, oh my god, it could just become a nightmare. You're like, I think I know that word, but I don't.
That's a hard part that I had to learn about like German, because German, the best advice that I ever got from someone who spoke German and was teaching German when I was over in Germany, and he was like, German sentences do not care where anything goes, as long as you have the subject first, or in his question, the subject sentence, and the verb there, and then whatever happens with the verb at the end of the phrase, you're good. Doesn't matter where anything else goes in the middle of that. So it doesn't matter like what your prepositional phrases are, or like all this kind of stuff. It just matters that subject, verb, stuff, verb ending, if needed. So I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because in English, you have to put everything in the right spot, or else it doesn't make sense.
Yes,
And
this
he's
is
like,
the-
English sentences are so complicated. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, think about it. You have to put things in certain sentences. I'm like, oh, well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So
the Latin is very much that way. The only thing that matters in a Latin sentence, although there are some exceptions depending on the formatting and the style you're writing in and whatever else, is that the verb goes to the end of the line. That is it. Everything else, literally everything else about the sentence, is diagnosable by its endings. And everything connects to each other based on its endings. So this allows for the language to do this kind of flexible word order thing where you can make a picture out of these words or whatever else.
Yeah.
And of course, like metrics are really important to Latin for some reason. So, I read a lot of poetry in the classes I was in, and so maybe I have a warped understanding too. Who knows?
Warp drives. So David,
Yes.
we're talking about constructed languages.
Okay.
And talking about that kind of stuff. And I know something about Klingon. I know a little bit about like Elvish. I have no idea about Darathi, Draconian or whatever Game of Thrones stuff because I never got into that scene. But I guess like I just hear about all the Klingy like the crazy Trekkies that like translate things and have Klingon operas and stuff and Klingon death metal bands. So I don't know. We're just kind of talking about that at the moment.
And lots of Elvish as well. Lots of Lord of the Rings
Elvish
bands.
tattoos.
Elvish tattoos.
So many
And
Elvish
even even Harry Potter, right, which doesn't have its own language. It has its own some words, right, that are unique to it.
Yeah.
But even that, right, there are wizard bands.
There are wizard bands.
There are, yeah.
I really one of the other things that I'm just gonna throw this out and let this sit. I know none of us probably know enough about this to actually answer the question, but at what point does a language become constructed? Because like, can I make an argument that Church Latin is a constructed language?
I would say that's a hot take, but also kind of, because like I think there's this weirdly strange, there's this stupid arbitrary line. I don't want to say stupid. It's an arbitrary line between fictional languages being constructed, quote unquote constructed, versus warped languages being like dialects. Like I would say like maybe Church Latin is people might say that Church Latin is a dialect.
Well,
but it's also controlled and constructed, so why is it not a constructed language? But
that's what I'm throwing out, right?
Yeah,
it's curated by the church. It's curated by the church texts. It's bound up in like specifically a literary tradition, if anything. And so like at that point, like what defines a constructed language, and does it matter that the language is based off of this kind of existing grammatical structure? And to that end, I wonder how much are these constructed languages for these fandoms based off of existing grammatical structures primarily, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, I hate to say it, but right, like why does Shakespeare get to invent words but other people don't?
Yeah.
I'm sure, like for me, I don't really see much of a difference between like a made up quote unquote language and a used language, other than the fact that people use it outside of, right? Like we don't think of English as belonging in particular to a community that is based off of a media product, right? Whereas with Elvish and with Klingon we do, and I would say that's the main difference, right? Is that it's associated with a media environment, versus an unmediated environment. Of course, we can problematize that too, but
yeah, and I definitely think there's these kind of sweet stories about how people were at a Star Trek convention, or probably would have happened in like a Lotro convention or whatever too, that they only shared Klingon in common. So they spoke Klingon to each other, and then like became a couple, and then they learned each other's languages after that. But they met because they spoke Klingon. Like one spoke English and one spoke French, but they both spoke Klingon, and then that's how they met and talked. So it's like, is that which good on Klingon for facilitating that, but it's just kind of a strange thing. Like, yeah, where do we draw the line between? And I do think it's that connection to a piece of literature, in a fandom.
Yeah, it's and this is kind of the distinction, right, between also dead languages and living languages as well. I think to some extent one of the biggest separations, right, is that even a dead language is generally associated with a particular construction of what a culture means, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like I would say that Klingon is associated with a culture, but I wouldn't say that it's the same construction of culture that we do when we refer to something when we reference when we say something like Latin is a dead language from a culture, right?
Yeah, and I definitely think I would agree with that, that it's like a dead language. I don't remember who said it, but my linguistic classes, because they were taught by the same professor, always started with
Ready to beam down on your command,
dialects.
Captain. There is a magnetic field
Languages
covering
have
the entire
armies.
colony to prevent
Dialects do
prisoners
not.
from escaping
Mhm.
and transferring.
Actually, I think I might gonna. Sorry.
That's a fantastic quote. I'd love to know who that's from.
It might be from Noam Chomsky, to be honest. Like, she attributed a lot of things.
Damn, Chomsky.
Chomsky he's a great dude, man. Or he had a lot of stuff to say. I don't think he had some problematic stances, but it's fine. Let me turn myself down because I think I'm too loud, and turn you guys up because I think you're too quiet. Totally haven't been talking to you guys for like 30 minutes and not done this. No, we'll hang out for now. We'll beam down in a second. Sorry, totally got lost. But yeah, like, just because, and I think it's that nationalism, that country, the material culture collections of like the Roman history, like that we can describe. Like, this is what Latin comes from, is all this Roman discussion and material culture that we find and all that kind of stuff, and it's preserved. Whereas Klingon doesn't have that. So like, it's just a bunch of Strekkies having fun with Klingon.
Yeah. And I think like what David was saying, like who gets to invent words if we kind of take that out to its logical kind of extremes. One of the more interesting things I think about our construction and understanding of Latin is that so much of it comes from the people who could pay somebody else to write down their thoughts.
Yes, 100%.
It's so steeped in whatever the like ruling class of the time was for the most part, and so there's a question of like what texts survive enough to describe a language, which I imagine is not. I mean, I'm sure there are like dynamics of privilege and power that exist in the creation of these kinds of fan languages, but like I'm sure they are not the same as the kind of dynamics of privilege and power that exist in something like what remains of a dead language.
Yeah.
Or precisely the same, although I'm sure they operate by similar paradigms as what happens when, say, something Shakespeare has written gets incorporated into the canon of our literacy.
Yeah. It's like it's like Old English and text from the medieval time period and all that kind of thing. Like, there's a reason why things got written down. Like, a lot of like
oh sure, we lost so many plays. So many plays were lost because at the time people were like, nobody's ever gonna want to read these shitty plays again.
Yeah. or like,
Where do you think you are going?
Oh man, we got an angry Klingon man.
You may have crossed the
oh boy.
Shakespeare was melodrama.
He was melodrama, man.
It was not considered high culture when it was made.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're bad, right? But what is interesting, right? By having something be old, right? That comes with its own. Right. I think because Latin is a quote unquote dead language, right? The rhetoricity of even talking about the language is different than something like Klingon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like this idea that a language can live and die. It seems like the metaphor is somehow like it's almost like fan languages and these like constructed languages exist outside of that kind of metaphor entirely.
Yeah. Or that language is natural in some way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just canceled it.
So you're just here now?
Yeah, I am in this. I gotta go find Drake Franklin. I'm go find Drake Franklin.
Drake Franklin. Oh, sounds like it's like a name for a detective or something.
Yeah. My name's Drake Franklin. How's it going? I'm from Soho. I can't think of any boroughs in New York right now. Brooklyn. What? Hi, Thark. What did you just do? Did you just climb on something and fall down? Okay.
Oh, well.
Yeah, just there's a dog. Can I? Sniffing?
There really isn't a moment of this that isn't bizarre.
But anyway, yeah, like Conley, like what is and isn't correct.
Interrogate the prisoners, Captain.
And like use of languages. One of the things my friend in high school really tried to learn Esperanto, for some reason. And do you guys know what Esperanto was? I mean, it might be.
Yeah, that was meant to be like the universal language.
Yeah. It's the common in D&D. I don't know. But it was like based in like Spanish, and there was like French words and stuff incorporated into it, and it never took off. Cause why would it? Oh, I forgot I can tumble. This is beautiful. And so like, it's a constructed language. Someone made it, but it's also not used, like whatsoever. Like it's just kind of there as a historical relic of something that you can pull out of your hat and be like, I know what this word is in Esperanto. It's like Pig Latin. Like, what do we do with that?
Oh yeah, I don't know what the fuck the origin of Pig Latin is. Somebody decided that was a fun joke, I suppose.
Do I go down here? Doggo, what? Oh no. Oh look.
Yeah, you know, Esperanto appears in my dictionary of cryptographic ciphers. Like that's the level of obscurity that we're working with here.
Oh, you get to see all these cool prisoners, all their different alien features. Great times. But yeah, so it's like, is that a language or is it not, or is it just a passing trend?
I haven't seen any humans here.
All right, sweet.
Who knows? I know there's like been some discussion about, the possibility of essentially a internet age transatlantic dialect. Just kind of fascinating. I don't know what to make of that, but it's been thrown around, I've heard.
Yeah, I could see like kind of this transatlantic idea of things. Hi, Ferengi. Hi, Ferengi. Bye, Ferengi.
It wouldn't be so surprising to see something like it crop up. I'm just not. I mean, obviously, I'm not a linguist. I don't study languages. I for the life of me, as a casual kind of viewer of the world, if you will, I haven't noticed anything that would seem to constitute some sort of new transatlantic dialect. I think it's from maybe there is some like research and writing on specific communities where this has popped up that are more specifically, incorporating multiple people from various geographic locations outside of the U.S. But it's not something I've seen.
Yeah, I can imagine it happening, but less in a dialectic sort of way, like an actual like change, like Commonwealth English versus American English, but more of just the shared understandings. It's so like when you talk to someone in like I watch a Polish YouTuber who calls herself the Queen of Memes, and she knows all the internet memes, and she's in Poland, and I share that knowledge with her, so I can watch someone from Russia or Sweden or Italy, and they all know the similar memes or the similar inside jokes of the internet. So I feel like that shared meaning is something to understand and to posit that exists, but I don't think it's enough to call a dialect, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I follow.
Also, if you want to say idiot in Klingon, it is patak. That's how you say idiot in Klingon. Fun facts. Now you know. Don't call me a patak, cause I'll know.
The human is here to extract a prisoner.
That sounds perilously close to Baka.
Yes, it does.
Perilously close. What a way to put that.
Everyone says this
Oh, yeah.
dead within a year.
Yeah, well,
Are you questioning
yeah.
my honor?
Oh no, I'm questioning his honor.
Because you hold a
I'm sorry,
weapon.
Klingon man. I'm not questioning your honor.
The only
And
thing
honor is the
standing
big thing with
between
them,
you
right?
and the
Yes,
cold light
100%.
is my patience.
They are.
Someday I'll teach you a lesson for testing my resolve.
This is
Human is
one angry Klingon. Why are you a
a
prisoner,
complicated situation.
sir?
You
You're a
must
Klingon.
do exactly as I say.
Okay.
The only crime I've committed was thinking there could be peace between the great houses.
That's why he's a
And all
prisoner.
need to know
There's no
is
peace
that
between the
I
great
am a
houses of
Klingon
Klingons,
warrior
I guess.
with the information you need. Follow me, and I will take you to the one the prisoners call
The worm.
The worm is over by the mine entrance.
Yes, the mine entrance. Okay. But yeah, Klingons are super into honor and specifically glory through battle. They're kind of like they're not like Vikings in that way, but they're like they want to get to Valhalla and having a good death and all that jazz and all that kind of stuff. Confront Drake. Oh look, I found him.
Oh, well, there you go. You found him.
There's no humans here. I scanned. Everything's fine. Walks down from entrance, looks over. I'm gonna go walk over here. Oh look, I found him. Hot Klingon, you really are Patox, man.
There you go. I was wondering if I'd lost you.
Apparently, perhaps we have someone in the chat now who knows Klingon. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just taking a guess.
Kopla! Yeah, Kopla. Hello, Klingon friend.
Don't try to play coy with us. You have the subterfuge skills of
It's really bizarre, I think, coming to this with almost zero contact with Star Trek and trying to understand what the hell is going on in this.
Oh yeah, Sovakor. It's not Valhalla, it's Sovakor. You are correct. I did not know the name. It's Sovakor. It's from what I understand, it's basically kind of like Valhalla, but it's Sovakor. It's Sovakor.
I wonder how much of like the like races that exist in Star Trek were kind of constructions of the limitations of what they could afford special effects wise.
Yes. Also, that kind of like TOS was actually really expensive back in the day. I believe it was the most expensive television show on air at the time, and that's why I got kind of canceled.
Wow. Damn, how much are we talking? Should I look it up?
Yeah, look it up. Look it up. And I might be wrong, but I believe. But you can tell where the Klingon guards are. Oh yeah. Ah. Cool, cool. Thank you for your Star Trek knowledge. If you want to know what's really going on here, you'll have to ask my new friend. I need to go. What? Oh!
running for the surface.
Oh no, go get Frank. Chase the worm. You got it.
Doing some reading, see if I can get you those fun statistics off the Wikipedia page. I'm not going very deep right now.
Don't go very deep. But yeah,
I will keep going until I find
TOS
it.
was
Somebody's
cheap.
gotta
I thought
mark
it was
somewhere.
expensive. I thought it was expensive at the time. Maybe TNG, in comparison to the other Star Trek shows, cheap. Because TNG and everything had a lot of special effects. But TOS at the time, I imagine the models and stuff were really expensive. I have no idea where I'm going. There's a dog here. Search for Drake. Rock. Prisoner. Are you gonna punch me? Oh, you are! Sir. Do not punch me. Alright, alright. There's Throck.
The Wikipedia is not helping today.
Throck is lost. Get to the computer. I think I need to go.
If this, I'm not. This isn't coming from the most robust source of all time ever. But if this is true, that's a lot of money. I don't know how that really ends up relative to current production standards. I imagine things cost a hell of a lot more now, and I'm not sure if this is adjusted for inflation or whatever else. But the compared to the next generation, this is like chump change.
Oh yeah.
But it was somewhere between 190,000 per episode and 250,000 per episode. Again, this is coming from somebody who doesn't know. I mean, not the poster. The poster here, again, I don't know how much Oh, okay, so this is adjusted for inflation to 2015. So yeah, that's really not.
It's not that
a
bad.
lot of
That's
fucking money.
That's
really fucking cheap for a TV show. I'm pretty sure, actually, in 2015.
Well, for 2015, but like in 1960. But yeah, I might. Just
well, right, but this is like I said, this is adjusted for inflation. So like.
But how much was Leave It to Beavers?
Oh God, let me check. I have no idea. Let's find out.
That's the question. I have no idea where this man Drake went. Did Drake go this way? Drake, are you this way?
I bet the most expensive thing that they probably could have incurred would be stars at that time.
But there was no stars in.
Exactly.
Except for actually, if I remember correctly, Leonard Nimoy was an actor. All of them were actors beforehand.
Do you want to know the cost of Leave It to Beaver? Because it's staggering, actually.
Really? I just had to ask.
Per episode, upwards to $360,000 $2019.
Oh, thanks.
So,
Jesus.
Oh God.
Maybe
apparently it's because the outdoor scenes cost a lot to shoot, which is not surprising. It is really genuinely incredibly hard to build a good outdoor scene and make it look good on a camera. I'm sure it looks
okay, so I was wrong with that. So I was wrong with that idea that was expensive.
Well, I mean, you know, we're talking like what, half the cost of the expensive Leave It to Beaver. So like, I don't know. Again, it depends on how much the price ranges fluctuate. But I'm inclined to say that like yeah, I mean, relatively, it seems like it was pretty fucking cheap. But that's still a lot of money.
Which is a fact that I heard from random people. I have no idea where I'm going, by the way. It's not really pointing the way. I'm just kind of going this way. I'm being flanked. I know this.
Yes, our
yeah, it was canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it that like if they were, you know, that Leave It to Beaver money went straight to Shatner.
Yeah. Shatner he wasn't actually supposed to be the captain. It's just that they couldn't find anyone else.
Not the Leave It to Beaver money, excuse me, the Star Trek money. I'm getting my, I'm having a moment here. I'm sorry, senior moment. Leave It to Beaver, Shatner, what? Nah, I'm joking around.
Oh look, I found Frank! We have to stop him. Frank, come back! Oh wait, do I have to talk to you? Hi, Frank.
Do you guys remember the eponymous Star Trek episode where they find Frank?
You know, I don't remember. Yeah, Pike was the original intended captain.
I'm just sticking around. Like I said, I haven't seen Star Trek.
Trying to cross the ice. We need to hurry before he gets outside the magnetic shield.
All right, I would like to point out that every single Klingon that I've seen has better eyebrows than my first officer.
Look, you can't ask a man to groom his eyebrows as well as every other person.
Oh, I'm doing the sniffing again. Oh, now he's actually moving. Sweet. Also, this is what my guy looks like. I don't think I've been able to show you yet. That's what my guy looks like. Alright. No, that's done. Oh, there's dogs! I have to protect my dog! This is going great, guys. Oh, for her pleasure? There's like a whole like canonical thing why Klingons have their ridges. There was like some genetic testing and all that kind of stuff. That's
really? There's a whole like backstory lore.
Yeah, because in TNG, so in the original series, they were quite literally just Mexicans. That's what they were. They didn't have any ridges or anything. They were wearing, you know, what would become standard Klingon things, but they were very much just Mexicans, unfortunately.
I didn't realize that, like, again, you know, somebody who hasn't been around, so my understanding of Star Trek is just this cultural blob of, like, the things I was most.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't realize that the bridges weren't there from day one.
Yeah,
you know?
And that could be, that's one of the things with TNG, is they've kind of went out of their way to make the aliens specific, and that you could tell them apart. So like Bajorans have these certain ridges, and these guys have these other ridges, and these guys look like lizards, but they're not actually lizards. That kind of stuff. And a part of that is Klingons have ridges on their foreheads. But why? Because they were one of the races from the original series that are in TNG, so they had to explain that.
Still, killing one another
So.
for honor blinds us to greater threats.
Yeah,
So
TOS
it's more
had a
of a
genetic
retroactive thing.
Yeah, it was a retroactive thing, pretty much. The ridge is missing in TOS as a genetic manipulation fail. Yeah, that's the story. Or yeah, they were coded as Russians and Soviets. Yes. However, in the show, they just kind of look like Mexicans. So that's why I said they look like they were Mexicans.
Oh, so that's also kind of interesting. So they had two different, like they had a coding as far as like the stereotypes they were portraying, and a coding as far as the presentational.
Yeah.
Like,
in my opinion, watching it, they look like they look like Mexicans to me. They look like they just were that, whatever. They were portrayed on film like Mexicans to me. However, they were coded as Russians or Soviets, which makes a lot of sense because of when TOS existed. Confront Drake. Hey, dude, how's it going? How's it going? I'm gonna confront you.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get into Star Trek.
Fake mustache and some shoe polish. Yeah, I think you guys would enjoy it. You definitely would enjoy Deep Space Nine. The Next Generation is a hoot, but I know some people really like Voyager. I didn't watch a lot of Voyager. The new stuff is kind of cool, but like definitely DS9 and TNG, I think you guys would maybe enjoy. Now, those are also the longest series, but like, yeah.
it definitely seems to me like when you take a step back from it all and you look at it as one big object, that it's quite absurd, really. And like, again, I don't have the perspective to know that for certain. I'm sure if I understood all the lore, it would make a lot of sense, but I mean, I'm a fan of Kingdom Hearts, okay? And like, when you step back from that lore, it's just fucking weird.
Yeah, and I think TNG and DS9, I really like. I don't know how to say your name, but I do agree. TNG is enjoyable in story. It's a little cheesy. It's from the 80s, so it's a little mid 80s, late 80s cheese. And DS9 is more soap opera-y, like drama-y. But yeah, you get to experience the Borg with TNG, and that's the best part.
They believe he's in great danger. I recommend a trip to
the father.
I can't imagine anything could be more kitschy and strange and archaic. Any kitschy and strange and archaic as the old Doctor Who episodes, I've seen a few of the ones that they had on Netflix in the archives, some of the earliest ones that had kind of survived, and they're really hard to watch. Really hard to watch.
The old Star Trek?
Like the old Doctor Who, like
the old Doctor Who. I got you.
The ones that we have archived that weren't where the reels weren't lost. They are really kitschy, and they're God. I mean, like, I know that there are people who are out there who love it, and that's great. It's a piece of media that, for me, when I look at it, is so of its time that I feel like I am not able to engage with it. If that makes sense, which is ironic because it's about time travel.
Yeah, because like TOS and Doctor Who are kind of similar, and TOS definitely has its moments. I could point you to like the 4 episodes that I can lift off the top of my head that are actually really good and defined a lot of things going forward, like the Tribble episode, the one where they get swapped into the mirror universe, The first one with the silicone stuff, it's Life Gym, but not as we know it. That episode is really good. So like, there's parts of TOS that I'm like, these are episodes that are found within other things, like Mirror Spock comes from, that's a thing. So like, there's these cultural moments. But I wouldn't recommend, if you're not into kitsch, to watch TOS, because it is just 60s formulaic kitsch, and I love it. That's why I like the Next Generation, the original series. Also, something is happening here. I'm under attack.
You got to do it.
It's also right, and it's also not just Star Trek. Lost in Space, and a lot of shows like that Star Trek has some of its DNA from. We're all campy and kitschy too, because you really there's no real, you can't really do the kind of special effects things for space that you come to expect now.
What? Hey guys, are you?
Yeah, and I wonder how much of it is in the special effects. I think there is some stuff that's in the writing that is like, is it a failure of willing suspension of disbelief? Is that what it is?
I think so. Oh my god.
On the part of like a modern viewer looking back on something that like feels.
I think I broke it. I think I broke it. Measure.
I don't mean to put all the onus on the viewer there too. I mean, I realize that they're like, but I don't seem to have the same. Well, to be fair, I was gonna say I don't seem to have the same issue with video games, but video games are not as old,
Yeah.
And so there is like yeah, I mean, I can boot up. Well, and there are some restrictions on that, right? Like, I will probably never find myself playing the original Berserk, right?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna happen unless it's on this show for some reason. Well, not this show, but
Position, Captain. You must still be within. We will bring the ship down to the surface to pick you up, Captain.
Or not Berserk. What is the God, you guys seem to know what I'm talking about. No, I am talking about Berserk. I got it. It's just, yeah, I was gonna say for a moment I thought maybe I was talking about something wrong, but no, I got my name right. The Stern Electronics Berserk. Yeah.
The warden and the guards are approaching.
Oh no, the warden and the guards.
You dishonorable dog.
Sorry, I just got distracted. But yeah, I think it's kind of a suspension of disbelief is different for TV shows and video games, I guess.
Well, I'm not sure it's different. Perhaps it is. I mean, you'd really have to do some sort of study to be certain, something like that. But
Yeah.
I really do think it's an age of content thing to some degree, right? Like,
I'm very used to watching. I love watching MASH and Hogan's Heroes.
MASH is good. MASH holds up, I feel like.
It does. Well, and also MASH is a little bit later, but I like watching Hogan's Heroes, which is formulaic kitsch. That's in a World War II version. Yeah, it's great. I love Hogan's Heroes. I watch Hogan's Heroes constantly. So that's a difference in what, like, that time period I like, and I also like cheesy 90s action movies. So it's like, it's just a matter of appeal, I guess.
Right.
Which cheese are you willing to eat?
Yes.
How Wisconsin of you.
The best way to get rid of a Klingon is to... Thank you.
We must find evidence.
Transporter room is standing by, Captain.
Pick us up. All right, so now we've realized that there is, shocker, discord between the great houses of the Klingon Empire, and one wants to kill the other.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it? Continue. I hate listening to him talk. I'm like, I would read it, but I don't want to listen to you. Yes. I am a Gorn. Yes. You know.
Yeah, I think one of the funny things when talking about voices in games, let's say, right? Like Banjo-Kazooie is so good. It's so good. It like Grant Kirkhope does such a good job in that game of like generating those voices and everything else. But then you go to Ukulele and it's Kirkhope uncompressed, and you're like, oh god. The compression really adds something to making some of those sounds less hard on the ears.
Yeah. Well, it's like one person was talking about they cleaned up Mario Sunshine. Like, they did Mario Sunshine, but they just, like, did the MIDI versions of it. Like, they remade it. They remade the MIDI version without the compression, pretty much. And they're like, wow, it sounds so different. And I'm like, yeah, because it's just, well, it's what it is. And it takes, I don't know if it takes away something, but it is different.
But it's definitely just, like, different.
Yeah. And not having grown up with it, I was like, this sounds like an N64 game. Like, it just sounds like clean MIDI. And, like, it sounds like Doom, because Doom is all MIDI and stuff. So it's like, I'm gonna fly into the sun. Are you ready? Bonk. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, that's such a... Oh boy.
just flying into the sun. Cut a cannon out of bamboo, sulfur, coal, and saltpeter. But you have to construct a rudimentary lathe beforehand.
These like in-jokes, my god.
Oh, that's a Galaxy Quest. It's a Galaxy Quest quote. So in Galaxy Quest, which is a kind of a satire parody of like Star Trek-esque shows, they were like, oh, I need to make a cannon to kill this guy. Okay, first you gotta make a rudimentary lathe. And then it's really funny. That's a good movie. It has Tim Allen in it, which is weird, but it's very 90s that he's there. But it's a good movie. But yeah. That's how Kirk kills a Gorn, by the way, is that he constructed he just found a chunk of bamboo, put sulfur, coal, and saltpeter and diamonds in it, and fired it, and killed the Gorn that way.
What?
He killed a Gorn, which is a lizard person. The guy who's talking to me.
No, I follow. I don't want to follow.
So that is actually like the better of the fights, because most time when Kirk, when William Shatner needed to do fight choreography, yeah, the cannon part isn't even the silly part. What Kirk did is he would like link his hands together, right, and just like bop people with it. Like, I'll have to find it, but he would like put his hands together, like I'm trying to think of how to explain, like linking your hand together and then like bopping people in the neck, and that's how he'd fight. The choreography in TOS was bad.
Baby. Yeah,
it is a blessing that the Vulcans just got Vulcan neck pinches, and then you just go, he double fisted everyone. Yeah, he did. Oh my god, but Uridian scientists, that's unusual. I don't know what Uridians are.
Not known for their scientific prowess, but the research station is listed as a protected asset.
Oh, look at him.
According to your ship's computer.
Yeah,
I don't watch do not get your impression of Star Trek from the original series. The original series was 3 seasons. It had like 60 episodes, whereas like TNG and like DS9 had like 100 to 120 episodes each.
This is also like its own interesting discussion, right? Like, what does a fan community determine as the proper slice of their media, right? Like, what's demonstrated?
Yeah.
What's demonstrative of the whole?
And there's definitely, I got into this discussion with Eli, because Eli said that he had found the statistical analysis saying that red shirts didn't actually die a lot in Star Trek, and they used TOS and all the TNG series. And I went, well, that's inaccurate because the colors changed throughout the series. So red shirts might have died more in TOS, but in TNG, red was command. So the red people wouldn't die in TNG. So we got into this whole discussion, and he's like, why does it matter? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it does kind of matter from a statistical bias standpoint. But from my experience, you kind of have this separation of the original series, people who really like the original series, people who really like the Next Generation series, so that's Voyager, Voyager, the Next Generation, and DS9. And then all of Star Trek fans don't like Enterprise or Discovery. No, for the most part, they're very nostalgic and like, TNG was better than this modern stuff. However, and everyone hates Into Darkness. Everyone hates it. It's not a good movie. But there's also like people who like Discovery and people who like Enterprise and stuff. But it was kind of one of the, like the bandwagony things to not like. But yeah.
It's hip not to like the new stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
just like it is in several communities.
Star Trek, Star Wars, a lot of communities. They like their old stuff, and they want to eat. Like, I can't imagine if they try to reboot Firefly. Like, it's possible. They could reboot Firefly, but it could never happen in a way that would make anyone happy.
I want them to do it just to make all the stands really mad.
Oh, how dare you!
Because I feel like they're doomed if they do, damned if they don't.
Yep.
Yeah, it's this.
And Bob Bolt Sponge, yeah.
The thing that of course exists in anime, and I forgot to mention this, is the 3-episode test, right? You give a show 3 episodes, and if it grabs you, then great. If it doesn't, then you don't watch it. And like that's a very interesting metric in that it standardizes the watch experience, and probably, if it sticks around for long enough as a metric in these communities, will become something that shows are like, well, we got to do something good in our first 3 episodes, right? It becomes perhaps a production standard. I don't know. But, nothing like that kind of hard metric for, I don't really want to call anime a genre. I don't think that's fair. Cultural category, I think maybe might be more apt. But like, nothing like that as far as a standardizing metric exists outside of anime people and fans, which suggests it's like this, this kind of insular community device. But if I was going to tell somebody, oh, I want you to watch, I don't know, what TV show would I even ask people?
Star Trek,
like
Stargate,
Evil on the Netflix series Evil. I was like, oh, why don't you check, or Black Mirror? Like what Black Mirror episode is like the one that is indicative of the whole, right? Like how do you define that? And the reason I bring this up is not so we can arbitrarily start defining metrics. It's because I think fan communities do define metrics.
Yes. Well, it's like, and like an issue when you were like, what thing defines X? Stargate, absolute win, MacGyver in space. I love Stargate. SG-1 is one of my favorite shows. But like when you said that, I was like, okay, what would I do for Star Trek? And like I could think of a few TOS episodes that would be like, yeah, you need to watch these, and everyone has one for the Next Generation, and that kind of stuff. And then I thought about like MASH. MASH is, do you point someone to an Alan Alda episode, which are completely different from the rest of MASH, which are also the best episodes? Alan Alda episodes, best episodes for MASH, but it's like, it doesn't make any sense to just pinpoint these episodes that are good or bad or indifferent, because every episode contributes to the series in some way, and in a canonical, cacophony of movies, series, and this giant timeline that Star Trek has created for itself. I can't say watch The Next Generation because that is quintessential Star Trek. It doesn't work that way. Even if I would say, like, I could recommend it, because people might think that's the best one, but, like, there's no, like, I can't point you to one thing that said, this is what Star Trek is, except maybe, no, I'm not even gonna try. So it's like this, it's like trying to recommend the best Star Wars thing. There's so much Star Wars stuff that's like, what do you recommend? How do you get someone into
the Star Wars cinematic universe?
But also like Gundam. Gundam's one. If you ask me, get into classic Trek, the 2-partner pilot TNG. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, see, like they're just like throwing out possible metrics here, like, oh, you need to watch this, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
It's just so fascinating. I don't know. Do game communities do the same thing, David?
Yes.
I don't really.
Oh, absolutely.
Fan game communities.
Oh, sorry, fan game communities definitely. But I'm just like, I asked someone how to get into Phoenix Wright, and they were like, do this. So it like happens to just normal game community. But I'm sorry, David, I talked over you.
No, I was just gonna say definitely with stuff like Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Mario, etc., right? Like there are games where you're like, okay, so these are the main series games. These are the offshoots that are not indicative of the main series, right?
Yeah.
These are the general ones that people think in general are better than the others. Right, and there's kind of a lore behind all that shit.
Yeah. And you can even see that with like with any long-running game series, or even like not long-running game series. I'm trying to think of like games that don't have a lot, like Halo. Like a lot of people have like, hey, if you want to get into Halo, or you want to play a good Halo game, play 2. That's what I would say. But that's like a metric for everything that I compare Halo series to as I compare things to 2. But yeah, it's just people make metrics of what they prefer. So like people comparing like Sword and Shield to Pokemon Go or Pokemon Eevee, because that's what they compare, 3D games to and all that kind of stuff, definitely happens and things.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, we are getting up to where we would end. Do you guys have any last comments, concerns?
No.
Do you guys? So this might be my last Star Trek. I might do Star Trek next week because it seems like a hoot. Do you guys has someone who grew up with Star Trek? My parents were Trekkies. If someone asked me what my favorite Star Wars the Christmas special, I grew up. My parents really love Star Trek, so I've inherited that love of Star Trek. I'm not fully like a Trekkie. If someone had asked me if you like Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, or Battlestar Galactica, the 4-star shows, I stay Stargate. Because I like Stargate the most.
The constellation, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes.
I joined my undergrad organization, and someone went Stargate or Star Trek or Star Wars, and I went Stargate, because that's just kind of what I like the most. I like that 90s camp. Boy, not Pawn Stars. Not Pawn, no man, Pawn Stars. But yeah.
That's definitely the cursed episode right there. The cursed response is
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars, yeah.
But has this kind of feeling of Star Trek from someone who likes Trek and knows things about it, and the game Star Trek Online gotten you interested in at least like the lore of Star Trek, even if you don't want to watch Star Trek?
Here's the thing. It's gotten me interested in the people who are interested in Star Trek.
Okay.
But nothing else. Like that.
Hey, that's kind of, the Trekkie community is weird, and I love them. But they're weird.
I have this question now about like what anthropology has been done of the Trekkie community.
Oh.
God.
Oh,
well, I mean, like fan studies started with the Trek.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because
man.
so many things happen at like Star Trek conventions, and all that kind of stuff. But David, have you gotten interested in anything Star Trek related?
Interest is one word.
You don't have to.
Nah, I don't mind Star Trek, but it's just not my thing.
That's fair. No anthropologists has come back so far. It has been a pleasure to have you, Othuyeg. Othuyeg. That's what your name is. But yeah. So, into the final frontier we go. I'll be honest. So this kind of shows how Trekkie, how connected I am with the Star Trek universe. So Leonard Nimoy died a long time ago. Still really weird to me. I don't know why, that he's just not with us anymore. But in Star Trek Beyond, so the last of the modern day Star Trek movies, I liked Beyond. Beyond was good. Not the best movie, but it was very quintessential the original series. They had this really touching tribute to Leonard Nimoy at the end of it, and I was like crying in the theater. I'm like, this is so touching, but also it's Star Trek. Why do I care? It's just one of those things where Star Trek means a lot to a lot of people, and you watch like these documentaries about going to Star Trek conventions and talking to fans and how people interact with Star Trek, like their parents got them into it and all that kind of stuff, and it means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah,
doesn't have to mean a lot to you, but it's just one of those things in the background of all sci-fi or sci-fi fandoms and that kind of thing and that kind of such. So, but yeah, thank you, Othuyeg, for joining us. You were very colored commentary. It was very nice to have you. Thank you, David and Ren, for joining us.
My pleasure.
And
anytime.
As we will be back next week. Maybe we're going to play Star Trek. Maybe I'll go to SWTOR, or however you say it.
Oh, I just want to see you deal with the hilariously bad writing.
Live long and may the Force be with you. And be with you too.
Hey.
Be with you.
And also with you.
And
also...
Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda.
But, alright, ending the stream. Have a good night and all that jazz. Woo! May the Schwartz be with you.